much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, why do we only have one break? We're supposed to have two. I don't know. Give us a call, 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, if you have questions, we're here for you with any and every financial question. We're coming to you live, 800-321-0710. We got a lot to talk about. Wall Street is pushing back on Trump's threat to oust Fed Chair Powell. I don't think it's going to happen. This is just kind of ridiculous. Every day we hear about this, and frankly, it never occurs. So it's like the boy who cried wolf. Gene Hackman's $80 million estate in turmoil. The estates for the late actor Gene Hackman. Everybody likes to watch a train wreck, but they don't say they do. It's why when you're driving down the Garden State Parkway headed to the beach, everybody stops and kind of pulls over. I don't. I just want to get to where I'm going, but it's always annoying. But people want to know, like, what did Gene Hackman do with his money? What did Betsy Arakawa, his wife, and they're being hit with creditors' claims over alleged debt the couple left behind at the time of their deaths. News.com, KNEWZ, has confirmed, according to court documents, and we'll talk about Brian Wilson eventually, and then according to court docs, the legendary actor's estate was served with a claim by Citibank over money owed to MasterCard. The bank demanded $98,345.29 per paperwork filed on July 1st. Betsy, his wife, owed money to a second bank. Around the same time, a claim was filed against Arakawa's estate for an alleged $4,329 bank account with Bank of America. The total for the claims comes to $102,000. Hackman's estate is reportedly worth an estimated $80 million. If you followed my tips and got the financial quarterback review, where we meet with you, your attorneys, to craft an estate plan. No, I'm not an attorney, don't claim to be one, but you don't want to be spending hours and hours with an attorney figuring out your hopes, your goals, your dreams. So when we figure out your family tree, who you want the money to go to, we send that direct to your attorney. That way you don't have to spend $100,000 in hours figuring out your goals, your dreams, what you want. Do you want your money to go to your son-in-law? Do you want your money, different things that... Do you want your daughter-in-law to get the money? Officials determined that Arakawa's death occurred 1 week before Hackman died. If they would have had a trust or some of these other estate plans, and I don't mean a living trust, I mean like a DAPT, a domestic asset protection trust. They would have a dynasty trust. A lot of this money would have been protected. Gene Hackman died 1 week after his wife, according to the chief medical examiner for New Mexico, Dr. Heather Jarrell, listed Arakawa's death as natural due to a hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. She believes Arakawa died on February 11th. Hackman is believed to have died February 18th. His cause of death was ruled to be hypertensive atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease with Alzheimer's listed as a contributing factor, and the couple's dog also died. See, here's the thing. This tragedy of Gene Hackman and his wife underscores the need to get your affairs in order. And it's not just your money. Who's going to check on you, Jim, if you become senile? Have you thought of that?
No.
Who's going to check on you, Richard, if you become senile?
I think.
I guess me now.
I think G's gonna just put a sheet over me and walk past.
No, but that's not it. It's probably going to be me. Hey, you want to go to the gym?
Exactly.
And I'll go, what happened to Richard?
Just wipe my
And-
mouth.
So, no, but that's a joke, but it's really true. A lot of you think, oh, I talked to somebody this week, a dear listener friend who doesn't have any children, and they live in New Jersey. Their next of kin, guess where their next of kin lives? Great Britain. And I go, we really need to have 3 people involved. You need a financial advisor written into the will that your trustee could fire. So you need, the trust needs an investment advisor. 1, you need a trust. The guy didn't have a trust. 2, he needs an investment advisor to the trust. 3, he needs somebody to take care of his health care plan. 4, so you need a health care power of attorney. 4, you need a financial power of attorney. Now, you might have a very nurturing. So, Richard, I could, maybe be your financial power of attorney, but I don't want to be your health care power of attorney. I'm not that nurturing. No, I'm kidding. But the point is, there will be some family member, right, who's very nurturing, who you might want to wipe your bib, but that person might not be good with money. So you can actually distinguish between a healthcare person and a financial person. This is critical. You need to separate sometimes you might have the most nurturing relative, might be your daughter, Richard, who could take care of you if you need, your bib wiped or your rear end wiped.
With that comment on my daughter, she won't want to be on payroll.
But maybe she's not the one. Maybe she's the financial. But the point is, you have to stipulate this. Have you done this, Jim? You got to. Now,
This is a great topic because this is not something anybody. It's like life insurance. You just don't think about this, and unfortunately, until it's like happens. So this is that rock it's a great topic to overturn that nobody wants to talk about, that elephant, gorilla in the room. So it's a scary.
You got to think about this, and Gene Hackman's death underscores this.
Yeah.
So, if anything we can learn from this tragedy, learn that there are not going to be people who just, especially if you don't have children, but even if you do have children, do you want your kids fighting over money? Do you want your kids fighting over your shoe collection, Jim? Or
I don't have a shoe collection.
what's your collection?
I don't really collect much.
Guitars?
I would love to have that, but more.
Do you have one nice guitar?
2.
2, okay. Well, who gets that? Your kid's going to fight over that.
I just might give it to the church.
Well, you know what? If I was your kid and you're giving the guitar to the church instead of me, maybe I want to learn.
Jim, let me
Well,
give
they
you
don't
the
play. They
Jim.
don't-
Let me
if they
give you the
play, that's
let me
But
give you the
that's the
proper
thing,
spelling of
you
my
need-
name.
Yeah. But that's the thing. If you want to give it to the church, have that talk with your kids. Make sure there's no hard feelings. Does anybody want these guitars? They might go, Dad, you know what? I want to learn. I used to play the alto saxophone. Did you know that?
No.
Me and Bill Clinton.
Here, Josh, I
And
got a question. I
if
got a
I'm-
question. I got a
And
question.
I might
for
want to
you.
pick it up again. I might want to pick up the guitar. Although I don't really have guitar fingers.
Got a nice one at home, though.
Yeah, I have a beautiful one.
Got a great back collection.
So next up we have Gordon and then Tim. And apparently our show has turned into like
More than 10.
Bitcoin Anonymous. Go ahead, Gordon.
Yes, Josh. I have 2 questions, but only one of them is about Bitcoin. The
Sure.
other is on another subject altogether.
Well, give me the other
I
subject first, then we'll go to Bitcoin.
clarify-
Give me the other subject first, then we'll go to Bitcoin.
Okay. I was wondering if anything of importance to us ordinary investors had come out of the so-called Rio Reset Conference, the Conference of BRICS countries.
I have that's good. I think long term, I think the dollar is toast. The government refuses to get their financial house in order. We are spending more than we are taking in. And pretty soon, we're going to run out of other people's money, right? So eventually, the what is it? The piper? What's that phrase? The piper will be called. So you got to worry about, I'm worried about the BRICS. I do think Trump needs to really use his trade war to call out these countries that benefit from our trade deals and then are trying to de-hedge themselves from the dollar. So I am definitely worried about that. Next, we have Tina, and then maybe Gordon will call back. Go ahead,
Hi.
Tina.
Yeah. I don't understand what backs Bitcoin. If you buy stock, it's ownership in a company. If you buy bonds, it's the debt of a company. They issue financial statements. Bitcoin, it can't be used to buy anything that I'm aware of. Does Bitcoin issue a financial statement? I think it's just going to be a pyramid scheme and make the very original sellers of it filthy rich. And eventually, a lot of people will lose a lot of money.
Well, a lot of people share that sentiment. And hey, Tina, I know who this is. Hey, how you doing? Good to hear your voice. So, I think it's backed by, it's sort of like the dollar. The dollar is backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. It's sort of, nothing but an IOU from the U.S. With Bitcoin, it's backed by energy information. It's sort of like the internet of money. It's the digital gold. It's backed by the 68,000 plus miners. I'm not telling anyone to go invest in Bitcoin. We've got a lot of Bitcoin questions for some reason the last few years. I think if you're not comfortable with it, you shouldn't put your money into it. I do think it's sort of like the internet of money, and a lot of people don't understand it, but I think if you think of like Venmo and Zelle have sort of taken over, now that's backed by the money in your account, but the original backers of Bitcoin have become billionaires. So it's been around for since 2008, and I think it's here to stay. But again, I'm not telling anybody to go out and buy it. It's not backed by gold or a government IOU, so some people are concerned by that. But I think just as people assign value to tulips at one point, or shells, or paper, when people said, oh, we're going to take paper and make it money, that was a new innovation. And people thought that was ridiculous because before that time, gold was the backing. Silver was the backing. I think Bitcoin does solve a problem of governments kind of meddling with the value of money. So people want their money to be there. It's transferable. It's across borders. I certainly see the benefits of it. But I understand your concerns and definitely would encourage you, if you're not comfortable with it, to not put any money into it. That's for sure. But I do think it's... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Have any of your investors ever invested in Bitcoin? And if so, do they receive a financial report on it or something?
Well, you can look at the financial reports of like the Fidelity ETF that holds Bitcoin, or GBTC. Then they tell you, okay, it's backed by these Bitcoins, it's held at this, it's held in Coinbase, and, but it's not a traditional financial asset. What it's backed by is the mining power, the hash power, the energy of the mining network. So, they place these miners in places where energy is cheaper or plentiful, and then it's, that money is then mining. But again, we've had a lot of Bitcoin questions over the last, week or two. So a lot of people have questions on Bitcoin, but it's not like I'm not out here pushing for Bitcoin for clients. And as it relates to clients, we try to keep that private. We certainly have clients who've bought, they have exposure to Bitcoin, but that's generally something that they do of their own accord. You know what I mean? It's not like we're doing that for them. It's like somebody says, hey, I want to get involved, have a 1% exposure or something like that, or a small, but it's not something, it sounds like you're not comfortable with it, so I wouldn't do it, You only invest in what you're comfortable with, right? That's a good rule.
Yes,
and what you're
absolutely.
knowledgeable on. But I mean, I will do a whole, I guess since we were having this, I have to do a show on Bitcoin. But people will say it's backed by nothing. It's not backed by nothing. It's backed by computing power, energy, and people have assigned value to it. So they're strengthening. It's like the internet. Like where is the internet's held? But the internet is invisible in a sense, right? Like it's backed by nothing, yet our whole lives are on it, right? So it's sort of like that. There are servers that are backing the internet, and there's computer languages, and our whole by the way, our whole currency, look up this, Tina, euro dollar. Euro dollars back our financial system. Have you heard about the euro dollar?
Yeah.
And euro dollars are an invisible ledger, just like Bitcoin. It's a digital ledger. So it's a little scary, actually, when you read up on the euro dollar. And in a way, it's a precursor to Bitcoin. But euro dollars back a lot of the banking, like in Europe and even in the U.S. and the Fed, and But that being said, I certainly understand your concerns, and I kind of tell people don't invest in it if you're not comfortable with it. And but we're getting a lot of questions on Bitcoin. I don't know why. We've turned into like half of our questions are about Bitcoin.
They are.
On a side note,
people are just-
there are some e-commerce platforms that accept
The only reason I had the question is because I was listening to your show,
Sure.
and one of your first callers was talking about Bitcoin, and then that got me thinking to it, and then I realized, you know what? Let me try calling. Maybe I'll get through. And
No, that's
I
great.
was very pleasantly surprised that I got through.
Well,
So
you
thank
get-
for taking my call.
Well, you get number one position. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not recommending people go out and buy Bitcoin. Probably the time to buy Bitcoin was like 5 years ago. It's a little late, but as more and more people kind of wake up to it, it keeps going up in value. But you shouldn't buy anything because it's up in value. You should really read the white paper. If you could Google Bitcoin white paper, you'll learn more about it, see if it's for you. If it's not, that's fine. Some Bitcoin people are like Bitcoin evangelists. To me, you should learn about it if it's something that interests you. But, we have a lot of people who, to me, I'm for asset allocation, meaning you have so much in, if you want to have a Bitcoin exposure, you have 1% to 3% exposure to Bitcoin. If you want to have a 5% exposure to gold, you want to have an exposure to U.S. equities, you want to have an exposure to international equities, you want exposure to fixed income in a kind of a global sense. I think that's a better framework than trying to bet all on one thing to go up. And definitely, I think it's here to stay. I think it's a phenomenon. And Gordon's back with another question on Bitcoin. This is crazy. Anyway, well, thank you so much, Tina. It was so great to meet with you earlier this week. Okay, next up.
Thank you. All right.
Wonderful. And then, folks, call us, 800-321-0710. Gordon is back, but we'll take a break. And thank you. And we love all your questions. And if you have, Bitcoin questions, I guess we'll take them all. So, my personal prediction is I think sometime in the year, 2030, Bitcoin will be worth $1 million a coin. But that's because there's a fixed supply. So there's only 21 million. And, but we got to move on a little bit. Next up, we're taking your calls at 800-321-0710. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
I always love listener questions, and we get questions on our email. You can email me. What's our email for this show? I don't know, but somebody has my email. So she goes, your radio friend here will be 73 next year. Congratulations. Happy birthday. I will take out an RMD right after that. I do not want to do 2 RMDs in the same first year. My one option, and that's something when you hit 73, sometimes based on when you turn 73, if you wait till you legally have to take the money, you'll get double RMDs and you'll get double the taxes. My one option is directly to my parish, not giving weekly envelopes, and will advise my secretary why. Yeah, that's a great idea. Direct, that's called the QCD, Qualified Charitable Distribution. The other night, I thought I'm allowed to RMD directly to my pre-plan and account for my funeral as only $3K there. Now, I don't know if you can pre-plan your funeral with an RMD. I don't think that's allowable. I haven't heard that. Maybe Tom can look that up. Can you use your RMD to pre-plan your funeral? I think you can, but you got to pay taxes on it. I think what her question is can it be tax-free? Glad to hear you live, but oh, I love this woman, but glad you get more quality family time when you pre-tape. By the way, every show is new, live, but sometimes we get people go, Josh, I want the old show. Well, I have 7 children. Give me, sometimes I got to spend a Saturday at the ball field. Now, this woman calls herself the adamant college mom of a decade ago that was unhappy with you. But now she 100% agrees with me. Stop believing it's the parents' responsibility to help with college. Now, here's the thing. It's funny, I will probably be on the hook for my kids' college. But my point is, if you don't have enough money, if you are slaving away to put your kids through college, the first priority is to have money for your retirement, to have money for emergencies, because you do not want, your kids can get scholarships, they can get full rides, they can work their way like you did in their 20s, like I did. I paid my college, my parents didn't help me. They wanted to, but I'm saying it's an order of priority. Next up, we have Gordon. And more of you taking your calls at 800-321-0710. Go ahead, Gordon.
Yes, Josh. I'd like to clarify. First, I'd like to clarify a comment I believe you made on last week's show. And then perhaps if you have time, if I could make a comment on why I personally am a bit wary as an investor. I'm wary of Bitcoin.
Okay.
All right. My question is that I believe the subject came up.
Yeah. Let's talk about something else other than Bitcoin. You have any other questions?
No, not about nothing prepared other than about Bitcoin this week.
Okay, so what's your point about Bitcoin? Then we'll move on to
Yeah,
the subject.
I get the impression that you do not think that any other cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin is a reasonable investment, and that if you were looking for an alternative to Bitcoin, it would be some kind of gold investment.
Exactly. I'm as far as cryptocurrency, I'm a Bitcoin foundationalist or maximalist. I don't believe the others have merit. They are generally Ponzi schemes with a central actor. So you got to be careful. So definitely. And I think Bitcoin's kind of here to stay. It's been around for a long time, over a decade, over almost, 17 years. So definitely. And I think in terms of a broad-based asset allocation, if you had like 1% to Bitcoin or 2% or 3% and went cut in half, you're not going to, cry. But a lot of these people buying this token or that token, anything where there is a central actor that can be attacked, I'm worried about. So, but I think it underscores the broader point, right, of asset allocation. Too many of you are like, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I be in gold? Should I be in Bitcoin? Should I do in the hot stock tip? No, you shouldn't. If that is your question, the framework is wrong. You need to have a holistic picture, a holistic game plan, what we call the legendary retirement game plan, which we will give to you at 888-988-JOSH when you schedule and keep your no obligation legendary retirement game plan. And the key is this, Gordon, is you need to look at asset allocation. I get people go, what about Trump? What about Powell? What about when it was Biden? What about Biden? And I want to say, get a life in a respectful, loving tone. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it. And what I mean by get a life is your money should not consume you, right? Like one of our mottos at the Jelinsky Advisory Group is all heart and no regrets. You are to play your retirement game, get off the sidelines of your own financial life and enjoy your life, right? Like too many of you, you're glued to CNBC. I want you always listening to me, right? Because I'm your financial quarterback. However, like enjoy that trip. Eat the ice cream, Jim. Yes. Go to the gym, Richard. No. No, do both, But like you only live once. Enjoy that steak dinner, but then go work out. Because to me, too many of you are living your life with one foot on the banana peel and the other on the grave. You're like, you're waiting to, run out of money instead of living your life. And asset allocation, people, financial advisors say, what about asset allocation? And they don't even get it when financial advisors talk about it. What I'm advocating for is something called strategic asset allocation. Now, if you Google strategic asset allocation, it will tell you something totally different than my belief. It'll tell you something like, you're a mixture of stocks and bonds. You should have 60% in stock, 40% in bonds.
That's a little James Bond, right?
No, that's not James Bond. That's like a geeky. No, James Bond sounds way cooler. Sean Connery.
You should not look at the Google.
No, that's not Sean Connery.
Give me a little Sean Connery when you say that.
I could probably do a Sean Connery.
Let's go. Say it in Sean.
No.
Give me something.
So,
couple of words.
You're interrupting my great point, Richard.
It's a valid point.
You totally got me off my train of thought. So, strategic asset allocation. We will talk about that next when we return. This is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Josh and his team at the Jelinsky Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
Okay, funeral expenses do not qualify for the tax-free treatment unless is made to a qualified charity, a religious organization or nonprofit that handles funeral services for the needy. So, for example, sometimes Catholic churches do that, Catholic charities. So, we had that happen in our family, and sometimes you can get charities that do it, but it has to go through a charity. If your goal is to prepay funeral expenses and reduce your taxable estate, you can prepay funeral costs. It protects your money from Medicaid spend down. That's another thing. What if you have an end of life illness? Well, we talked a little about Gene Hackman. We'll get to Gene Hackman. We'll talk about Brian Wilson. But back to strategic asset allocation. Richard, you had a point we'll get to later, but the point that I was trying to bring up before I was so rudely interrupted was the key is I don't want anybody to feel offended by my remarks. I'm not saying you get a life. What I mean is enjoy your life. Spend your money, but build a plan where you have income checks coming in every month. Lead with income. So if you we were with a couple yesterday, they needed $200,000 a year of income to retire and of the same standard of living they do now. We showed them how to get $150,000 a year guaranteed every year by the claims paying ability of an underlying insurance company. So you want to make sure you pick a good one, read the fine print, get an A+ or A-rated insurance company. You don't want to pick a fly-by-night company. They get the checks coming in, $150,000 a year from the Guaranteed Income Program, $60,000 a year from Social Security combined. They're making $210,000 a year in retirement. And then they still have about $1.3 million left over for growth in the market. And that's where asset allocation comes in. So you lead with income, right? You want the checks coming in every month. So when we build the plan, it takes 3 to 5 meetings. We build that plan. We lead with income, right? So we're going to lead, if this is the Financial Quarterback, we are leading with the rush. We're blocking and tackling, but then we're throwing for the touchdown pass. That's how you got there with a long-term strategy. So you would have, an example would be not 60% stock, 40% bonds, because the bonds are replaced by the income portion. So now that other money, that 1.3 million or whatever else you have left after income, that is for growth. You can have it in ETFs, low-cost ETFs. You can have it in individual stocks. You can have it in different sectors, different strategies. So some in international, some in case the dollar goes kaput, some in gold as a hedge against the dollar, some in, you could have cash. You could have, 1 to 3% of Bitcoin if that suits your fancy. Not if it doesn't. Then you could have individual stocks. You could have US-based companies, large, mid-cap, small cap. And you blend out this portfolio that then you don't have to worry about. This is my key thing. You don't want to worry about your money. So you build a portfolio to reduce your worry. I had a guy This guy was a CFP. And he was equating on LinkedIn. I'll tell you about him later, because the guy really got my goat. Guy really didn't even know what he's talking about. I'll share. I won't share his name because I don't want to offend the guy, but really got my goat. I was going to respond because I rarely respond to these clowns online. So give us a call, 800-321-0710. Getting a ton of email from various listeners. Get an email on the virtues of a reverse mortgage.
Ooh.
And the real estate transfer tax. Got a bunch of emails. Somebody emailed me about revisiting reverse repos. I mean, our listeners are very smart.
Josh, let me follow
The
up
Japanese
with that.
unwind
Oh, good
trade.
grief.
So go ahead, Richard.
And in a very relatable sense outside of finance, 2 comments is with the finance. Obviously, people are always geared towards the investment, the next best thing, what you clarified, and then the strategies you put in play. It's changing that thought process and doing many things to accomplish the goal. In health and fitness, the obvious, hey, I want to lose some weight. It's not a matter of, hey, I'm just going to, stop eating bacon, or just one-sided type of thing, the next best thing they hear, the shortcut. You need to take a step back and first and foremost get a plan, putting in good diet program, putting in an exercise program, and slowly realizing that it's inch by inch, step by step, retraining your mind. Because sometimes it took 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of doing the wrong, and that play takes a long time, just like financial planning. So it's very a relatable thing. You need to have a plan and have realistic goals that it takes time to accomplish it.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Richard's a bodybuilder in his spare time. So everybody always asks him, Richard, how do I get buff?
And this is Josh.
So
Hey,
so
can I
anyway,
still
so
have
let's-
that gallon of
so
cream
let's-
in my coffee?
Yeah. Hey.
Step by step, my
I
friend.
like cream in my coffee. You know what? I want to enjoy my life a little bit.
Moderation. Balance, moderation,
Jim,
consistency.
you don't moderate anything.
No, I do.
You do?
Moderation. Got the Adonis.
Do you have the half gallon of Breyer's vanilla ice cream yesterday?
No, but I have ice cream once in a while, not a lot.
Yeah, I have it once in a while. I don't buy it. You know what I mean? I don't buy it to have it in my house. And I know it's expensive to go out and get ice cream, but I think it'd be far better if you have ice cream, every other month going out to eat than buying it every time you go to the store. You know what I mean? I think
My philosophy is don't have it in the house because
It'll be
yeah, it's like
although I have a buddy who has one of those Ninja Creamies, and he makes it and it's healthy, and the guy's in good shape. So
good stuff.
He so I think the key is to get out of the mindset of what's the hot thing. What is the stock tip? It's like, the belly bands or what was that? Suzanne Summers, the leg master, the thigh.
The latest,
Thigh
greatest.
master.
You know,
Thigh
you get the
master.
latest and greatest when it comes
That's it.
down to you have to watch what you eat and exercise. It's the same thing with money. You got to meet with a financial advisor. You got to build a plan. You got to stick with it. But in reality, tune out the noise of the day-to-day markets. Get less worried and more into the plan and the strategic asset allocation. So back with Gene Hackman, this is a tragedy. We'll also talk about the other tragedy, Brian Wilson. Officers found 2 bodies along with the dogs. Some people love their dog more than their husband. The front door of the residence was unsecured, unopened, and the deputies observed a healthy dog running loose on the property, another healthy dog near the deceased female, and a deceased dog laying 10 to 15 feet from the deceased female in a closet of the bathroom. Why do I bring up the dogs? Because if that's what you need to do to get your financial house in order. For the sake of Fido, do it. So there was no obvious signs of a gas leak. This is very tragic, but this is the point. Get your estate plan, asset protection plan. Get your X's and O's done. Call us 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, if you want the legendary retirement game plan, call us now. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. We are alive for the next hour, taking your calls on everything from bricks to Bitcoin to retirement plans to not worrying about your money. Whatever you need to kind of not worry about your money, give us a call. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And if you call us right now, I will give you my book, Retirement Reality Check, as a free gift when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. Up next, we're talking about Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys and the Japanese unwind trade. Australian $4 trillion superannuation sector exposed to a devastating bond market run. You always hear stuff like that, and they might cause a hiccup in the market, but generally speaking, you're fine. Don't like the Japanese carry trade. Remember when that was going to bankrupt the market? Didn't happen. Don't worry too much. Give us a call. 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. We'll be back after these messages.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York. The #1 preset on your car radio and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free. Never sounded so good.
We hear you, New York. Loud and clear.
I take the Metro North to work. I got 710 WOR in my earbuds. I don't need anything else.
Always the voice of New York. 710 WOR.
An iHeart radio station.
It's 78 degrees at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Bill Trefiro. Dozens of people are hurt after a car plows through a crowd of people outside of a music venue in Los Angeles overnight. Police are now investigating.
The scene when they arrived was very chaotic. Ultimately, there ended up being a total of 30 patients. So out of those 30 patients, 7 of them were critical, what we call immediate.
That's Los Angeles Fire Department spokesman Captain Adam Vangerpen, who spoke with ABC News at the scene. Since being transported to hospitals, 3 people are listed in critical condition. First responders also found 1 person with a gunshot wound. The company that owns the Wall Street Journal is standing behind its story about Donald Trump's alleged letter to Jeffrey Epstein. Dow Jones said Friday that it has full confidence in the rigor and accuracy of its reporting and that it will vigorously defend against any lawsuit. Trump is suing parent company Dow Jones, the Wall Street Journal, and owner Rupert Murdoch after the story claimed Trump sent the letter to Epstein in 2003 for his 50th birthday. Trump's suit alleges defamation and seeks $20 billion. Epstein was facing sex trafficking charges when he died in jail in 2019. Maybe she should have seen bars in her future, but a Queens fortune teller is under arrest on Long Island, this after allegedly scamming a woman out of thousands of dollars. Andrew Whitman has more.
Police say the 68-year-old victim first met Hemanth Kumar Munepa in Hicksville July 3rd when she paid him $20,000 for his services. When she went back Friday, Munepa told her it would cost $42,000, then drove her to a bank. The bank told her she was being scammed and called police. He's charged with grand larceny, attempted grand larceny, and with fortune telling. That's a misdemeanor in New York.
And the Environmental Protection Agency is shutting down its research department. The agency announced on Friday that it's firing hundreds of biologists, toxicologists, chemists, and other scientists. The move is the latest effort by the Trump administration to reduce the federal workforce. In sports, the Mets fall to the Reds 8-4 Afternoon games this weekend at Citi Field. Yankees are in Atlanta, and they lost there 7-3. That series continues tonight.
Here's your WOR Weather Channel forecast. The high today should approach 82 with a slight chance for a shower or two popping up. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sun. And tonight, there may be a shower thunderstorm developing with a low of 74. An approaching front will bring in scattered thunderstorms on Sunday to wrap up the weekend with a high of 89. Then a clearing trend Monday as the high hits 83 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jeff Marr.
Next News 11, bulletins at once. Wake up with Menti in the morning, 6 to 10 a.m. on Monday. I'm Bill Trefiro on 710 WOR.
Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
We're talking about Brian Wilson. You remember him, you love him from the Beach Boys, obviously passed away, so sad. And we'll talk about his estate plan. But Richard wanted to do something called the lightning round. You want to explain it, Richard? And then
the lightning round.
By the way, this is unrehearsed. So
we've been rehearsing it constantly.
We got to give you we got to do like the Gong Show, Gong.
The lightning round. All right, so
if it's not good, listeners, Richard, will press a button and Richard will be swallowed up.
Well, you know what? The lightning round or the 2-minute drill. First, that's caller's opinion.
2-minute drill?
I like the 2-minute drill, but you know what? Your explanation on it is probably going to be a little bit longer than 2 minutes, so I'll give you, but we're going to call it the 2-minute drill. The 2-minute drill will be basically I will give a little quick scenario and then ask an important question, and then you're going to break it down. So here it is.
He's been waiting to do this for
I love
days.
it. I think, hey, listen, you're the financial quarterback, and this is a play on football.
And then, folks, if you like it, call us at 800-321-07. And if you don't like it, tell us too.
Or how we can improve it. That's
okay,
how I
go ahead.
All right, so 2-minute drill. All right, so we have a newly married couple with one child on the 20-yard line. Now, keep in mind the 100-yard line end zone is the retirement, so they are early on. They are on their own 20-yard line and newly married, one child.
No, well, that's the thing. I would say the 100-yard line would be meeting the Lord. It would be the ultimate, legacy.
So where are we going? If you go red zone
with all heart, no regrets, and the retirement would be maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think he's stalling because he's not.
Go ahead.
All right, so the 2-minute drill comes with this question: insurance. Now, this is the untouched secret. Nobody wants to talk about it, but term or whole life. They're hearing a lot. They are internet savvy. They are informational highway, puking all the information. They have no idea which would be better. Ready? Whistle blows. Go.
Well, it depends on how much their income is. What's their income?
Say conservatively combined within New Jersey is $100,000. And I know that is like...
And how old are they?
They're currently in their early 30s.
And what are their expenses?
Their expenses are just standard humbled car payments and utilities and all, not much of a revolving spender. So they're just keeping their heads moderately above water. But the focus and goals, and ladies and gentlemen, this is great questions because from the financial quarterback, he's not just taking a standard and giving a big gunshot and taking it all the way into the end zone.
Well, yeah, but if you're $100 grand, if they're living paycheck to paycheck on $100 grand, the obvious answer would be term, which is the cheapest thing they could buy, a 20-year term convertible at a good hole. But if they're living on, $4 grand a month, I mean, if you're $100 grand in New Jersey, You got to learn to live on $4 or $5 grand a month to get ahead financially. And that's hard for a lot of people, but I think you have to learn. If you're making 100 grand a year, you got to find a way to save 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year. How do you do that? You can, max out your 401k, max out your Roth. You can utilize whole life. It's not a question of term versus whole. I think a lot of people get that screwed up. I do think when you're younger, whole life is way cheaper, so you can put a couple $100 a month in and have a real policy. So I like whole from a mutual insurer, from an A+ rated insurer, but it depends to me on the whole fact pattern, how much you're putting in their 401k. So yeah, if they're making, 100 grand and living off of 50 grand, yeah, they could afford whole. But if they're making 100 grand and living off of 99 grand, well, they got to take that extra 1,000 to buy term. So terms it's not a question of term versus whole, it's a question of terms temporary and wholes long term, and that's where you get people like Dave Ramsey and others who have this holy jihad against permanent insurance, but I guarantee you he has insurance to pay his estate tax. Most wealthy people do. So I never understood, his anxiety or angst against permanent life insurance. Now some, sometimes if universal life is improperly funded, it can be a mistake. Sometimes if somebody buys a whole life and they can't afford it, it's a mistake. But you gotta look at the expenses and income, and then you also got to consider the person. Do they have the temperament to put their money in the market? If they do, maybe they can plow that. If you get somebody buying term for 20 years and plowing that difference in the market, the old buy term, invest the difference strategy, it works if you do it for 20 years. But a lot of people don't do it. Life gets in the way.
That was great.
Their kids go to college, things like that. This also, I got a listener question response. Some people said some love their dogs more than their wife too. And why do I say that? I mean, it's a joke, but the point is, imagine how much Gene or Betsy loved their dog, Fido, or whatever the dog's name was. He's leaving almost $100 million. What's going to happen to the dogs? The two that survive? Who's taking care of them? Is that in the will? That's how animals go to rescues. So a lot of my listeners over the years have a heart for their animals. And that should be in your estate plan. And that's why people go, well, you're not an attorney. You don't draw up a will. No, I don't. But I help you fulfill your plan as a quarterback calls the play, and you're the owner of the team. You're the owner of the financial. Okay, next up, Richard, go ahead.
I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic answer, and I'm going to throw one at you.
Okay, enough brown nosing. Let's go.
Here's the other scenario.
That's a little long-winded.
Same scenario. The husband just got a brand new job, including a great 401k option. He was on that whole internet doing all the latest and greatest. He continues that. He did okay in the market. He's now making an extra 25 grand a year. Should he continue doing the path of investing on his own, or does he consider any 401k contributions? He's up in the air.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the question was.
Question is,
it seems like there's about three questions in one.
There is. So break it down. The investment, all he did was on his own and investing on the latest and greatest Bitcoin, whatever, meme stock, and he tried to dabble himself. Now his job has the options for a 401k.
I think over meme stocks and crypto or your 401k, you should generally max out the 401k.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to get to know him. But generally, meme stocks are dumb. If you want to take $1,000 and play, I mean, what happened to AMC? That was a meme stock. What was the Wall Street Bets all about? It was some dumb stock that probably isn't worth as much. I don't go by meme stocks. I want to buy the stocks Warren Buffett buys. You know what I mean? I don't want to buy garbage. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, I don't want to be investing in companies that are, so it was GameStop and AMC. So AMC was as high in the meme stock craze as, get this, $261 a share. Now it's $3.
That was on a short.
The company has zero earnings. Their priced earnings is not even identifiable. So it's just not, I'm not telling you to buy or sell it. It's not something that, we are not giving buy or sell recommendations. But when you say meme stock, I just, a chill goes down my spine. And GameStop fared a little better. Meme stocks, for those of you who don't know, there was a guy, Roaring Kitty, who was a Reddit group, a Reddit chat guy. And he was, instead of shorting stock, they said, hey, we are going to stick it to this firm, Melvin Capital or whatever it was called, and they're going to buy stocks that hedge funds are shorting. And so what happened was a dislocation. So GameStop is an obsolete business model. AMC, if we're honest, even though I want to go see a movie, I'm thinking about it. I go to a couple movies here. I go to family-friendly, like The Chosen, or what was that one on Christmas? I Heard the Bells. Jim, did you go with your church? How come I go to movies with your church and I don't see you there?
Because I don't like to go to movies.
Okay, so for some reason, Jim's church goes to the Manahawkin Regal Cinema, right? For their movie nights.
Yes.
And I'm always there with your church, and it's like once a year, twice a year, there's some family-friendly pick, and we'll go see The Chosen, or, just to give it ratings, because we want money to go be spent on not filth. You know what I mean? We want Hollywood or different movies to be made. And very few people are going to the movies, right? So, and with GameStop, you might not play video games, but there's something called Steam. So a lot of your grandkids or kids are getting their video games online now. They're kind of streaming the video games. They're not buying the physical, but GameStop had some nostalgia in that kids would go in the store, they'd play the games, they'd come out with the real cartridge. So Roaring Kitty told people, hey, let's buy this and stick it to the hedge fund, right? And they did for a while. But now a lot of people who bought meme stocks years ago, they've lost a ton of money. So I generally think buy a high-quality ETF or high-quality individual stock. Buy a strategic ETF, a tactical ETF, or an individual stock program. We can help you do that. Buy companies that have earnings. Buy companies that have a unique competitive advantage, not, companies in a dying business. And we can help you do that. So I think the broader question, since you're trying to do a segment, is really to have this kind of yin and yang. Do it yourself or hire an advisor? Bingo. That's another kind of question. Thank you for the new segment, Richard. Hopefully you'll practice a little more next time and be a little less long-winded in your no, but it was good. But we'll kind of answer that later. Do you do it yourself or do you hire an advisor? Up next, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jalinsky.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jalinsky, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We're back. This is Josh Jalinsky, the financial quarterback. Richard had another, he's itching, he's itching, rearing to go. He has another
I
question.
Can't sit on my hands. All right, last 2-minute drill.
She goes, I have followed you for over a decade, and in the olden days, you gave your email address over the airwaves.
Oh, boy.
She remembers. She remembers in the olden days.
Tick.
The new email address is, she's right. And there are some good listener friends. You know why I stopped giving my email? I would get these. This is kind of funny. This is up only here on live radio, right? I got these hate mails because when Rush Limbaugh came on the station, the late Rush Limbaugh, who was an amazing broadcaster. I mean, if you listen, very entertaining. Not like some of these people who go wow 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 the whole time and just drone on. He would have a mix of humor. Really, it was kind of like a Jay Leno almost to some degree, especially back when Clinton was the president and he would do his Al Gore skits. But anyway, when Rush Limbaugh came on this station, I would get all this hate mail in emails. And I don't know if it was Media Matters or one of these, so I just stopped giving it out. So we have a new email address. It's called info@thefinancialquarterback.us. info@financialquarterback.us. That's kind of impersonal, but info@financialquarterback.us. I will email you. I will read your questions online if you email us, as I generally do. And we have so many great listeners who've been with me for 15 plus years. I love each and all of our listeners. Next up, we have Richard, who is a dear listener friend, and go ahead.
I am?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, last speed round question.
I did that thing, Richard, where you told me to...
Which one? What are you doing now?
Crack the egg and have one egg whole.
See
and
the advice we took.
Whites, and it was gross. It was disgusting.
Did you make it like an omelet, kind of give it a little
No, but
brown?
what I did 2 eggs.
Can't make it like raw.
And 3 egg whites, and I was okay with that.
But how you were making it before? You said it was disgusting. You probably just made them not.
No,
well
I did
done.
a 1 egg whole egg yolk.
Yeah.
I need 2 yolks.
But put stuff in it. You can put, cut up some onions, peppers, whatever. Spice
I don't
it up
have
a little bit.
time. I'm managing people's money.
Well, Jim, go to his house in the morning.
Raising 7 kids.
And you know what?
Jim's
going to show me that text. Richie's going to start saying not so nice words to me. Now I got to go and make Josh his breakfast.
No. We'd hire, you know what I would do?
We got to have an internal.
We would hire a chef.
Yeah.
Let's hire a chef. If you're a private chef and you want to work for peanuts, call us.
No, send it in the new email. Let's test out that new email address.
Go ahead, Richard.
All right, the last 2-minute drill. I'm going to make this real simple. People in the city versus the suburbs. Rent or buy? Strategies.
Rent
or buy. Advantages both.
I want to do the do-it-yourselfer versus hire an advisor. That was better.
All right, well,
Rent
just
versus
this one
buy was
quick.
so,
This one quick.
10 years ago. Well, it depends. It depends on if you can get a
The
good
question's
rent.
never old.
Here's the thing. Rent versus buy depends on your market, depends on your income. I do not believe you should go into excessive debt and buy a home if you're not ready. If you don't have sufficient emergency funds, if you're not saving for retirement, so you don't buy a house with a mortgage that you can't afford. We're already starting to see home delinquencies tick up from about 2% a year ago to about 3% now. Is that the canary in the coal mine? Nobody knows. But I would say you don't want a house that you can't afford. Now, if your mortgage plus home insurance, right, plus property tax, plus a little bit of a cushion for expenses is equal to what you're paying in rent, yeah, then you start looking at buying a home. But to me, there's no shame in renting. Just like there's no shame in, having a beat up car. There's no shame in term and then doing whole. I think that helps you. Now on to the do-it-yourselfer verse, and then we'll go to Brian Wilson. Do-it-yourselfer verse, hiring an advisor. You get a lot of people go, I'm going to be a do-it-yourselfer. I'm going to read Kiplinger. I'm going to listen to you, Josh. I'm going to read books. And I would argue, what is the value of your time worth to you? And you might say, my time is not that valuable, so I'm just going to learn and trade myself. But even Vanguard did a study, which we'll give to you. It's a white paper called Vanguard Advisor Alpha. And Vanguard, which focuses on really passive investing, says an advisor gives you more alpha. They give you behavioral shifts. And that's when I say Vanguard Advisor Alpha model basically says that an advisor could add alpha or an extra 2 to 3% a year over and above. And so for 25 years, Vanguard has basically built a framework, and they have shown that people are making more money with an advisor than not. And what do you get from that? You get behavioral coaching. Kind of like when I say get a life sometimes, it's not to hurt your feelings. It's to say, what are you doing? You could be volunteering. A lot of people in old age, they get lonely, right? Integrate yourself with a church or shul. Do volunteer time. Hit the gym. Find ways, pick up a guitar, right? And join the band with Jim at his church. Jim's a rock star at his church.
He's got the moves.
He's got the but
I'm the senior.
The same analogies like
I went to your church one time. There was did your church used to have fog?
Yes, and it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It was so funny.
And
The
so
first
is the
time I
person
went
that
to Jim's
So is the
church.
person that started that is gone.
And there was fog. It was like I was going to a Led Zeppelin concert.
I was choking on stage one day.
It was all these old rockers, right? And they were living their dream, and it was very. You guys practiced a lot back then, right? And it was very highly produced.
Yeah.
It did a good job, but a little much for me.
That was much.
A little much. But the idea is you may be smart enough to do it yourself, but you get a higher quality of life. There's a guy at the Little League field who, I don't know, he moved from North Jersey. Now he's volunteering. And he's, you can volunteer at the Boy Scouts. We have a church that does what's called Royal Rangers, which is like a Christian Boy Scouts. And you're making a difference in the lives of kids who may not have as good of a parent as you. So wouldn't that build, and I've helped probably 2,500, we have 2,500 people in our client database that are clients, plus probably 10,000 people over the last, 10 years interviewed. The things that get you in retirement are not what you think, right? You think it's going to be, Trump or Biden. It's, it's your kids breaking your heart. It's your grandkids breaking your heart. It's family rifts. And so sometimes you need something beyond yourself to throw your time into, or depression really is on the rise in retirement ages. And the answer in most cases is to attach yourself to causes bigger than yourself. So you're not going to have time to watch CNBC every day. And Vanguard even said this. They introduced the concept of advisor alpha, and they said this: an advisor adds between 2 and 3% extra above, so that their fee is beneficial because of asset allocation and investment selection, which we've talked about before, financial planning and wealth management, behavioral coaching. That's, hey, stick with the plan, right? Don't panic sell. And practice management and client experience. We have something called the 6, what do we call it? The 6 key plays. They were saying playbooks. I don't want to use the word playbook. It doesn't make any sense. No. The 6 key plays for retirement. What are the key plays? Investment selection. We have an investment committee that meets every Monday. They look at the spreadsheet and they say, should we buy? Should we sell? Should we hold? Boom. We have a tax mitigation strategy. So there's 6 key plays. 1 is investments, 2 is tax, 3 is income, 4th is estate planning.
Yep.
How to protect for FIDO. 5th is healthcare planning. Healthcare is your single biggest expense in retirement.
And the 6th of my favorite.
And the 6th is home equity planning, which we did have a listener email on, which was pretty big. Robin, our lovely Robin, I would like to tell everyone that since the mansion tax in New Jersey and real estate transfer tax is now all paid for by the seller, empty nesters above 62 should think about a reverse mortgage and stay in their home. A lot of homes have huge equity. A lot of good things about a reverse mortgage. Don't downsize if it's not the right time or you don't want to. And that's huge. And the other thing that you could do is, and yes, I'm not a big fan of the debt that a reverse mortgage gives to your heirs. So if you buy a permanent life insurance policy when you're younger, or you can even buy it in your 60s, you could use that to pay down the reverse mortgage when you die, so your kids are not saddled with debt. But generally, your kids just sell the house anyway. So they would rather get a check from an insurance company. So there's a lot there. So those 6 key plays are huge. So the front runner to succeed Jerome Powell. Who is the front runner? May I give a name?
You may.
Who would you like to be the front runner to replace Jerome Powell, Jim?
I think you should do this. Reveal it in an accent.
I think it is
James Bond accent. More? Come on now, be mysterious.
No, me.
You?
What
are we gonna do?
Really?
If you're replaced, we're done.
All right. Let me get in front of the seat.
It was a joke. I was just thinking, hey.
You should have said that in a James Bond. That would have been so mysterious.
Okay.
And the winner is
one of the top candidates, according to Mike Mahari, said the central bank needs to more closely coordinate with the U.S. Treasury and advocated for a much more inflationary monetary supply. Kevin Warsh served as a Fed governor from 2006 to 2011. He is widely regarded as one of the 3 to 4 candidates. And when the interviewer asked Warsh directly if Trump should fire Powell, he goes, I think regime change at the Fed will happen in due course. Right away, I would not hire this guy. He's probably going to be the guy. But just say it's going to happen in a year. Everybody, Powell's gone in a year. So why put the market in a tizzy over have a 20% loss on people's 401ks and IRAs if this happens because of regime change? There's going to happen. And then he goes, the hesitancy to cut rates, I think, is actually quite a mark against them. It's as if they've lost some credibility. They've had no credibility for a long time anyway. Truth is, in economics and inflations, bygones are not bygones. The specter of the miss they made on inflation, it has stuck with them. So one of the reasons why the president, I think, is right to be pushing the Fed publicly is we need regime change in the conduct of policy. Why do we need, I'm going to go out there, why do we need to cut rates? Is the economy going under? I don't think so. I mean, the economy is booming. What am I missing? If we start lowering rates too prematurely, inflation can get out of control.
Well, the indicator is the unemployment rate. Drop a smidge.
Yeah, I don't understand.
That's the leading indicator
why,
from what I understood.
As we help retirees on a regular basis, they like higher interest rates because they're benefited by saving money. Now, does the real estate market hurt with interest rates being higher? Yeah, but you know what? We were getting irresponsible buying, but I think we were definitely going to have lower interest rates down the road, Ryan. So if you believe rates should be cut, I want to hear that. Give us a call, 800-321-0710. If you don't think they should be cut, I want to hear from you. 800-321-0710. Jerome Powell's current term as chair of the Fed is set to end in May of 2026. That's not that long.
Not that long.
So, why? Now, Tom said this. He goes to lower the U.S. debt. I guess that's good. Yeah, one of the benefits of lower interest rate would be lower debt service because the amount we pay on debt is huge. That's why I'm surprised they haven't lowered rates. But we'll talk more about that when we return. This is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check. Josh and his team at the Jelinsky Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinsky to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinsky.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
We're back, breaking down what happened with beloved Brian Wilson's estate plan. Brian Wilson's estate plan had an existing estate plan that included a trust to hold his assets and a power of attorney naming as his wife as his agent, according to MarketWatch. Following his wife's death and his diagnosis, his family sought a conservatorship to manage his personal and medical affairs. Co-conservators Gene Sievers and Leanne Hard, who have a long-standing relationship with Wilson, were appointed as co-conservators. The conservatorship focuses on ensuring his daily living needs were met and that he received appropriate care. See, here's the thing. What's going on with the estate plan of Brian Wilson? A lot of people do not realize there was a conservatorship battle. And then there was a case Now, why was he sued? He did some, this is another tip. You have done some, but not all. You have done some, but not all. Get a lot of people, and this is also why you don't want to do it yourself, who do some planning, but not all. In the journey of life, certain events remind us of the importance of planning for the future. This is from frankelrubin.com. The recent news about Brian Wilson, the co-founder of the Beach Boys, now this was before his passing, is one such event that brings to light the critical role of powers of attorney in estate planning. If your goal in planning is avoiding court for you and your family, Brian's recent health and passing teaches us a lesson on how to avoid a conservatorship. You do not want a conservatorship. A conservatorship is a legal process where a court appoints an individual or organization to manage the affairs of someone who can no longer do so themselves due to physical or mental limitations. So sometimes people are so focused on the money that they forget they should have a healthcare power of attorney. The situation with Brian Wilson, who's been diagnosed with a major neurocognitive disorder, which was likely dementia, exemplified why having a complete plan is in place. Wilson's legacy as a musical genius is undeniable, yet his personal life faced significant challenges due to his health. So what happened was he had done some. So he named Melinda, his wife, as his agent. But with the passing of Melinda, he did not name a successor. So you always want to make sure you name a successor healthcare power of attorney, a successor financial power of attorney, and a successor trustee. Many of you will have a child who will handle your affairs, and you will call that person the trustee. What happens if that child dies? And also, what happens if that child is unduly influenced by their spouse? I've seen one such story where after the matriarch passed, kid comes into the office, says, I want my share of the inheritance because my wife's going to take my house if I don't pay her a percentage of the equity. Isn't that crazy? Those things happen. I hear stories about that every week.
Not as crazy as people think.
Here's the thing. If half of all marriages end in divorce, you have to have a plan that takes into account the divorce of your children, right? You have to have a plan that protects your blood. And you might say, well, I've done that with my attorney. I've read documents. I've met with people, and they think they've done the proper planning. They've done some, but not all. Make sure you add multiple successors. And in our disfragmented society, where you might have a kid who lives in California, maybe you pick somebody who goes to your local church who you trust, have known for 20 years. Maybe you pick a corporate trustee. There's a lot of things we can do to help you with that. Call us at 888-988-JOSH. Maybe you don't have anybody. You know, we have clients who have Fidelity as their trustee. We don't act as trustee because that's a conflict of interest, but we'll be investment advisor to the trust. So that way you have a system of checks and balances. It's sort of like the judiciary branch, the executive and the legislative. You should have your accountant be separate from your attorney, be separate from your financial advisor, be separate from your, what's the other one? Trustee. Then you have four people kind of looking out for you. And what I'm seeing a lot of people is they're just absorbing. So yeah, so I'm an accountant who does tax returns, who does your legal documents, who does your financial planning. Well, that's okay, but what if that person isn't doing things in your best interest? Well, then you need a trust protector. Or a trust protector is something that everybody should have in their trust. That's if the trustee is not doing their job, they can be fired like that. So they're going to then make sure they're doing right by you. All these things are really good to name. And here's the thing, the perfect is the enemy of the good. If all this overwhelms you, get something in place with an attorney. you need these basic documents: a will, a living will, healthcare power of attorney, financial power of attorney, living trust. Those are the 5 essential documents. But that does nothing from like protecting your money from in-laws, outlaws, creditors, predators. That's just the basic essentials. Then you kind of move to a domestic asset protection trust and a dynasty trust. Remember that show Dynasty in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
Did you like it? I don't remember it. I think I was too young. I remember like falling asleep on my mother and father's bed and then waking up, you know, and it was on. And it looked like, you know, these people lived a unique life, right? Like weren't they like wealthy Texas oil barons?
No, that's the other one.
What was that one? That was the other one?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was the one after it or before it. I forget
That
what
was
that.
Larry Hagman you're talking about.
Yeah, what was that called? That wasn't Dynasty?
No, Dynasty was with Linda Evans.
Yes, yeah. The other one, yeah. So they were like, were they on the same night on the same show?
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
There were some good shows in the 80s. I don't remember that one, but I remember Family Ties was great, right? And there were some good ones. So give us a call, folks, 888-988-JOSH. If you want the legendary retirement game plan review, call us 888-988-JOSH. I'll throw in my free book, The Retirement Reality Check, normally valued at $14.99. If you buy it on Amazon, you can buy it on Amazon. By all means, buy my book. Or you get it free when you schedule and keep your no-obligation review. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages with your questions at 800-321-0710.
Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, taking your calls on all matters financial. We just have about 13 minutes left, so if you have a question, now is the time to chime in at 800-321-0710, 800-321-0710. Schwab just announced that there is going to be a dearth of financial advisors. So the average age of financial advisor, you know what the average age of the financial advisor is? Mid-50s. It's like 58, 60. Your advisors are getting older. And one of the things that we're doing at Wealth Quarterback, our SEC RIA, is we are looking to hire young guns because we have a mixture of generations. We're multi-generational. We have staff in their 30s, staff in their 20s, staff in their 40s, staff in their 50s, staff in their 60s. And we blend that. You get generational wisdom, multi-generational wisdom. But many of you, your advisors retiring and they're hiring somebody that maybe you don't like, call us for a second opinion. 888-988-JOSH. Other thing, this is kind of interesting. I want to get this guy on. There's a interesting article called Stop Giving Money to People Who Hate You. Have you heard about this? Guy Robert Netzley wrote a book basically saying much of your 401ks and IRAs are funding kind of the woke ESG agenda, where they're actively going against things you value. We have an individual stock portfolio where you can monitor for different moral screens if that is something you want, where you could say, I don't want to buy this company because they're selling booze. I don't want to buy this company because they're selling cigarettes. I don't want to buy this company because they're funding, whatever it might be, So you can have your own screens if you want. And we have a program where you could say, do not buy this security, not buy this security. And it's powerful. And we can then monitor it for various things. So you can say, I don't want to buy this particular stock. You place it as a do not buy. So make sure that you're investing not just with your wallet, but your values. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, and a lot of interesting things. Also, there's a rise of direct indexing, where some have even said funds may not exist in 10 years. So there's a lot going on, but I really love to hear from you. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, you know your biggest asset has a tax liability. And the Trump tax code has a massive opportunity. With the, whatever you think of Trump, you have a $31,000 increased standard deduction. You have a senior deduction around $3,000. You have $6,500 in each of the senior deductions. So you can get 40 to 50 grand. It's something like 47 grand of your first income. If you're married and both over 65, you can get your first 40 plus grand of income tax-free. So what is the planning opportunity there? Most of you have money in never taxed assets, but it doesn't mean it's never going to be taxed. It means it was not taxed yet. When you have a 401k or IRA, you are making a promise with your favorite Uncle Sam, the U.S. government, that you are choosing to defer taxes to a date in the distant future. For some of you now, it's the not so distant future. It's 73 or 75 as they're pushing the RMD age later. And you want to learn how that works for you. And what some of you could do is you could Roth an extra 30 grand or an extra 40 grand this year, and it doesn't kill your tax burden. So if you're interested in that, we have an amazing program where we will show you whether a strategic Roth conversion is right for you. And the beauty is you're not choosing to Roth the whole thing. You're choosing an incremental pathway so that it diversifies you from higher taxes. One of the things you have to be concerned with, even though we have the Trump tax cuts, we'll have them for maybe 3 years. And then we have regime change. And then maybe another year of having them, and then somebody new changes the tax bill. But there's an increasing appetite for some, as the election of the Democratic primary by Mamdani shows, there's an appetite, an increasing electorate that wants to soak the rich. Now, who's the rich? It's anybody who has more money than you. Could be somebody with $500,000 in an IRA, $1 million in an IRA, $2 million in an IRA. And if you have more than that, certainly you'd be considered rich by these people. And what would they do? Well, a very simple thing to go after is the 401k or IRA. Why? Because, as Willie Sutton, the famous bank robber, used to say, that's where the money is. The government will go to 401ks and IRA because that's where the money is. So you want to look at ways, taxes are on sale right now, to reposition some money strategically to tax-free vehicles. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, and I'll go over some of our strategies. 888-988-JOSH for the complimentary Roth tax and you review. Many of you might be young, and you might younger and not hit the RMD age. Some of you may be nearing the RMD age. You have to have an RMD plan. Whether you're 44 or 74, RMDs are something that much of your biggest vehicle. Now, I'm not against the 401k. I think it's a great forced savings vehicle. I've met more people who've become millionaires over the 401k than anything except maybe real estate. And even real estate probably close to the 401k. And the beauty of that is you get to enjoy that money when you're retired, if you have a plan. So call us 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back with parting thoughts and more of your questions. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
So many really powerful strategies. According to Ed Slott, who's been on the show before, Roth conversions are taxed as income. Many of the new tax breaks can be lost if taxpayers push their income up too high. These include the $6,000 tax break for seniors, the increased SALT deduction, and the breaks for tips and overtime. So Roth conversions are now trickier. Roth conversions should be accelerated to take advantage of more years of low tax rates. You never want to leave a low tax bracket unfilled, he said. Low tax brackets need to be maximized each year. But how much to convert each year can be trickier now than ever before, since many of the new tax breaks have income caps. All another reason why you need an advisor, right? So it used to be you could convert up to the next bracket. Now you have to convert. So let me give you for instance, a married couple. This is exactly why you can't do it yourself anymore. The tax brackets. So when you do a Roth conversion, many of you may not be aware of this. You could hurt yourself with IRMA, the income-related Medicare premium adjustments. That was one thing you got to worry about. You got to worry about Obamacare now for some. You got to now worry about no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and the Social Security. So let's assume you make $100,000 a year combined with your spouse. You're married, filing jointly. And you are in the 22% bracket. In the old days, the first $96,950 would be taxed at 12% or less, which is still the case. The next bracket is the 22% bracket, which is between $96,951 and $206,000. Now, it used to be you could Roth, let's say, an extra $106,000 if you made $100,000. Now, you can't Roth 100. You can Roth, let's say, 50 because you don't want to go above that 150 threshold. But there's the increased standard deduction, which is around $40,000. Now, this is why you don't want to go it alone, because you got to figure out what is the max you can Roth without hurting yourself for not only income tax, but Medicare premiums and all of these new deductions under the Trump tax code. And then you got to figure out, should you do it or not? That's why you don't want to go it alone. The old question, should I do it yourself or hire a professional? This is another reason to hire a professional. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, if you want help with this. So this is some data of why lower interest rates, a 0.5% interest rate cut would reduce annual interest costs by approximately $50 billion per year, assuming $8 to $10 trillion in debt is affected. This is a rough estimate. So one of the benefits of lowering rates could be less debt service to the U.S. government. We'll stay tuned. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH.
Was sponsored by the Jelensky Advisory Group.
Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or public